Welcome back, listeners, to Sandman Stories Presents, a folklore podcast where I read you to sleep or until the next story. I'm your host, Dustin. Today we are back in the folk tales of China, recorded by Mary Hayes Davis and Chow. In the first story, we learn that the mighty many can conquer the greatest warrior. And in the second story, we learn how elephants can tell the innocent from the guilty. Okay, let's begin. The Lion and the Mosquitoes. One day Ah Fo's father said to him, "Come here, my boy, and I will tell you a story. Do you remember the great lion we saw one day, which Ah caught? You know a strong rope held him, and he roared and tried to free himself until he died. Then when Ah took him from the net, he looked at the rope and the bamboo carefully, and found 5 of the great ropes broken. How strong is the lion? 20 children like you could not break one strand of that great rope, but the lion broke 5 complete ropes. He is the strongest of all animals. He catches many creatures for his food, but once he lost a battle with one of the least of the wilderness creatures. Do you know what it was?" "A bird could fight and then fly away. Was it a bird?" "No, my son." "A man is stronger than a lion." "No. Do you not remember the woodcutter who put down 5 strong men? One night a wild lion caught him and killed him. Then what was the smallest of all creatures of the wilderness that battled with a lion?" The father said, "I will tell you the story. Once in the summertime the lion was very thirsty, but the sun had taken all the water near the lion's home, and he went to many places seeking it. In time he found an old well, but the water was not fresh. As the lion was very thirsty, he said, 'I must drink, even though the water is stale.' But when he reached down into the old well, he found that it was the home of all the mosquitoes in the wilderness. The mosquitoes said to the lion, 'Go away, we do not want you. This is our home and we are happy. We do not wish the lion, the fox, or the bear to come here. You are not our friend. Why do you come?' The lion roared and said, 'Weak and foolish things, I am the lion. It is you that should go away, for I have come to drink. This is my wilderness, and I am king. Do you know, weak things, that when I come out from my place and send forth my voice, all the creatures of the wilderness shake like leaves and bow their heads to me? What are you, that you should have a place to call your home and tell me that I may or may not?' Then the mosquitoes answered, 'You are only one. You speak as if you were many. Our people had this old well for a home before your roar was heard in the wilderness, and many generations of us have been born here. This home is ours, and we are they that say who shall come or go. And yet you come and tell us to go out of our own door? If you do not leave us, we will call our people, and you shall know trouble.' But the lion held his head high with pride and anger and said, 'What are you, O small of the small? I will kill every one of your useless people. When I drink, I will open my mouth only a little wider, and you shall be swallowed like the water. And tomorrow I shall forget that I drank today.' 'Boastful one,' said the mosquitoes, 'we do not believe that you have the power to destroy us all. If you wish to battle, we shall see. We know your name is great, and that all the animals bow their heads before you, but our people can kill you.' The lion jumped high in his rage and said, 'No other creature in the wilderness has dared to say these things to me, the king. Have I come to the vile well of the silly mosquitoes for wisdom?' And he held his head high, and gave the mighty roar of battle, and made ready to kill all the mosquitoes. Then the mosquitoes, big and little, flew around him. Many went into his ears, and the smallest ones went into his nose, and the big ones went into his mouth to sting. 1,000 and 1,000 hung in the air, just over his head, and made a great noise, and the lion soon knew that he could not conquer. He roared and jumped, and his 2 front feet went down into the well. The well was narrow and deep, and he could not get out, for his 2 hind feet were in the air, and his head hung downward. And as he died, he said to himself, 'My pride and anger have brought me to this fate. Had I used gentle words, the mosquitoes might have given me water for my thirst. I was wise and strong in the wilderness, and even the greatest of the animals feared my power. But I fought with the mosquitoes and I die, not because I have the strength to overcome, but because of the foolishness of anger. 一次, meaning, the wise can conquer the foolish. Power is nothing. Strength is nothing. The wise, gentle, and careful always win. The end. Okay, and story number 2, The Thief and the Elephant. 600 years ago, the people of southern China trained elephants and taught them to do many useful things. They worked for farmers and woodcutters and helped make the roads twice a year, for an elephant could do many times more work than any other animal. So wise were the elephants that the people grew superstitious about them, believing that they could see even into the heart of a man. A judge named Kokyong had an elephant that was trained to do this wonderful thing, so it was said. 3 cases which were brought before him were decided by a wise old elephant which he owned. And this is the way one of the decisions was made. A man came before the judge and said that some robbers had been in his house during the night and had taken his gold and jewels, all that he had, and he asked the judge to find and punish the thieves. In 3 months 5 robbers had been found. When they were brought before the judge, they bowed before him, and each one said, "I have never stolen anything." The man and woman who had been robbed were called, and the woman said, "That man with the long gray hair is the one who robbed us." The judge asked, "Are you sure it is him? And how do you know?" She answered, "Yes, I remember. He took the bracelet from my arm, and I looked into his face." "Did the other 4 rob you also?" asked the judge. The woman answered, "I do not know." But the judge said, "The man who you say is a robber doesn't seem like one to me. His face is kind and gentle. I cannot decide according to your testimony. I know of but one way to find out, and we shall soon know the truth of this matter. My elephant shall be brought in to examine the man. He can read the mind and heart of a man, and those who are not guilty need have no fear, for he will surely know the one who has done this deed." 4 of the men looked glad. They were stripped and stood naked, all but the cloth, before the judge and the law of the nation, and the elephant was brought in. Then the judge said to the elephant, "Examine these men, and tell us which one is the robber." The elephant touched with his trunk each of the 5 accused men, from his head to his feet. And the white-haired man and the 3 others stood still and laughed at the elephant with happy faces, for they knew in their hearts that they were not guilty, and they thought the elephant knew. But the 5th man shivered with fear, and his face changed many colors. While the elephant was examining him, the judge said, "Do your duty," and rapped loudly. The elephant took the guilty man and threw him down on the floor dead. Then the judge said to the 4 guiltless men, "You may go." And to the woman he said, "Be careful whom you accuse." Then he said to the elephant, "Food and water are waiting for you. I hope you may live a long time, and help me to judge wisely." After this, many wise men who were not superstitious went to the judge and said, "We know that your elephant cannot read the heart and mind of a man. What kind of food do you give him, and what do you teach him? Man himself lives only from 60 to 100 years, and he knows little. How could an elephant read the heart of a man, a thing which man himself cannot do? Did the spirit of a dead man grow wise and enter the elephant? We pray that you explain." And Kokyong, the wise judge, laughed and said, "My elephant eats and drinks as other elephants do. I think he surely does not know a robber from an honest man, but this is a belief among our people. The honest man believes it and has no fear, because he has done no wrong. The thief believes it and is filled with terror. The trial before the elephant is only confession through fear." The end. Okay, as much as I dislike mosquitoes, I do like how they overcame the lion in the first story. I'm also working on not letting my anger get the best of me, which is a lifelong struggle. And in the second story, I love how the elephant doesn't know who actually committed the crime, just that the guilty man had shown his guilt through his actions. I didn't like that the elephant killed the man, but, that's the story. And that being said, even honest folks can be pushed into confessions through coercion, and you should always lawyer up. The podcast Shoutout is to Bewilderbeasts, hosted by Melissa McHugh-McGrath, dog expert and all-around awesome person. She tells stories of animals and humans coming together. They are often funny, silly, or just plain odd, but always entertaining. And if you like her show as much as I do, go and give her a rating, a share, or even donate to her. And the listener shoutout is to one of my newest areas on my charts, Uganda. As there aren't many listens yet, it doesn't give me a geographical breakdown. So I picked the capital of Uganda, which is known as Kampala. With a name meaning Hill of the Impala, it was once the hunting grounds of the king of Buganda. The language of Kampala is Luganda, a Bantu language, and one of the two official languages of the country, the other being English for colonial reasons. So I will attempt Luganda tonight. Neyanziza and Sula Bulungi. Thank you, and good night.